Hi, everybody. So I want to introduce you today to Sky Buckles, who is a friend of mine through Zone. We actually met each other through Zone. And Zone therapy is something that I had her be my first person that did it for me. And then I went ahead and got into it and did it for other people. So that's something that we kind of connected on. But what we're going to talk about today is trees and all the amazing things that trees do for us. So, Sky is a tree climber. So, tell us how you got into tree climbing.
Thank you, honey, for having me.
Hi.
Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, trees. I've always been drawn to trees. Um, and it was just a natural thing. You go sit under a tree for the shade, um, and different things like that. Big swings. I remember that as a kid. But let's see, it was in 2016. I had just
Mhm.
gotten a divorce and moved out, and I used to exercise quite a lot. It was I have a lot of energy, as you see.
Yes.
I'm an active person, and I have an active mind. But this marriage that I was in was an unhealthy marriage, and it did a lot to me and mind and body, triggered a lot of things, and I was in a lot of
Mhm.
pain that I couldn't run anymore, cycle, um, lifting weights, all those things. It got to the point where I just couldn't. And then I started not liking to work out. So then what am I going to do with all this pent up energy? And that's when I stumbled upon this post. I think it was on Facebook about tree climbing. And here are a bunch of adults climbing trees and also doing like parkour in the trees. There's some of that too, if you're
Oh,
familiar with parkour.
uh-uh.
Okay, well that's a fun thing too, but I quit doing that one. It's like a natural movement, jumping over things, to get to one place, from one place to another in the fastest amount of time possible. It's made into a sport. People do these fancy,
Oh,
but they incorporate that with trees as well. So anyway, there was this thing called Tree Climb 30, climb a tree every day for 30 days. I'm like, well, that sounds fun. And I just went out and found a tree at the cemetery close by, and I just thought, okay, I'm going to do it. And I got up in it easily. And when I got down, I just was like, whoa, this is so fun. I also noticed that I had no pain. My mood was better. And I'm like, what's going on here? Like something was worked out. So I kept doing it. And I decided, okay, I'm really going to do this. I'm going to do a tree climb every day. So I just started, and I didn't know anything about it. I didn't have any guidance or anything. And that is something you don't want anyone watching this. If you're interested in climbing trees, great. However, you can get hurt,
yeah.
uh, obviously. And some people don't, there are things you need to know that I have found out on my own, really. Um, about tree climbing and how to do that the right way, safe. So anyway, I just started doing it more and more and exploring different areas and climbing more and more trees, going up higher and higher. And every time, so like if I would have something flared up, that I had this certain area of my body that would always flare up. And when it would flare up, it would just, my whole day, I couldn't focus, I couldn't concentrate.
Mm.
And, I did a lot of self-care things already. I was, because that's my business of what I do to help others. Nothing was working. Meditating was difficult for me. To quiet the mind that was difficult at that time. So I found that also in the tree climbing. So I found that when I was in the most amount of pain or the most uncomfortable in mind and body, that's when I knew I needed to go find a tree. Because when you're climbing a tree, you have to focus. You really have to focus. And so your mind can't be thinking about all these other things. And then, so I found myself getting in the zone. Like that's my zone. I get
Yeah.
in this. Um, and you figure things out. You just start figuring things out. You can be really, it's got so many benefits. You know, how the trees have all their own unique branches and ways of weaving in and out and this and that. I mean, you can spend a lot of time in a tree going up one way and coming down another. Sometimes you get up there and then you're like, wait a minute, how did I get up here?
Right.
Sometimes that happens. That did happen once in the beginning where I was like, oh no, I honestly, like I was a little bit scared because I couldn't figure out, but I always do. I always do. That's when I start to get these messages from the trees. And I'll get
Mhm.
into that in a minute. Um, but so I just continued to do it, and I noticed my strength was improving. It is a full body workout
Oh,
because
yeah.
you are, I mean, you're using every muscle in your body. It's not like a single plane of movement. You are weaving in and out, you know, upper body strength, your abs, your legs, everything. Um, so I just kept doing it and noticing that my stress level was decreasing. I was having less and less pain. I was able to concentrate and focus easier, better, because I found that that is like a form of meditation for me.
Mhm.
Because of, you know, it's not that your traditional sit and like in a spot and close your eyes and meditate, but because of the focus and, you know, the concentration that it requires, and you know, you just have to be present. You are present, and you just kind of become one with the tree. And that I found that that cleared my mind. And then
Yeah.
by the time I would get down from the tree, I'm like, well, I feel fantastic. Let's go do something else now. So it was such a great thing for me to run into this post, and then even later there is a man named Rafe Kelly. He's pretty well known in the parkour natural movement world,
Mhm.
tree climbing, and he had a group that he developed called EMP, Evolve, Move, Play. And I joined that, and that had some of this parkour and movement through the trees. Yeah, there's some of my
These are your pictures.
yeah, there's my favorite with the squirrel. I ran into the squirrel up there, and that happens quite a bit. I was right about up to the top, and he was coming down, and I was going up. We were eye to eye.
Yeah.
Luckily,
He's like, what are you doing?
that did startle me a little bit because I was like, he's not going to jump on my head or anything, is he? No, he didn't. But that
Oh,
happens, you know. You'll find a bunch of things. You'll see a nest up there. Yeah, this is my view from the treetops. So another
yeah.
thing that happened was, you know, okay, you see, when you're up high in the trees, you get a different view. You're going to have a different view than you do
Mhm.
from the ground, right? Um, so at first it wasn't as clear to me that uh, this new perspective that I was, you know, having, um, or this ability to see that there were so many more options available. Yeah, I started putting gnomes in the trees.
I love it.
Um, yeah, it's so fun. And then taking pictures of all the things I see, my view from the treetops, and it's
Mhm.
a cool tree right there. That's a really fun.
So cool.
It is fun. Yeah. That's at one of my favorite places to climb, which is a cemetery, actually, here in
Yeah,
Indianapolis.
cemeteries have some really beautiful trees.
They do.
Mhm.
I'll have to go back and see if that little guy's still there. Sometimes the squirrels will get to them.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, so see my views I get to see a different view, basically. From
Yeah, it's fantastic.
yeah, and when you get to see that different view, it really does open things up. Um,
Mhm.
and so how this it's not like I'm an expert in trees. I don't know the names of all the trees, but I have an app on my phone. I'll take this little fanny pack that fits tightly and put my phone in it, and you know, I can identify the trees.
Mhm.
It's funny because I'm actually, well, used to have a ton of allergies, and I was allergic to several trees. And I do experience symptoms of allergies when I climb, but it's nothing like it would have been in the past.
Yeah.
Same thing with cats, but there's more to that, and that's another day and another story. Um, but so anyway, I started to like not not only did I feel great physically and mentally, reboot, reset after working with clients all day as well. That's my favorite time to go is at the end of the day before sunset,
Mm,
after I've worked with a bunch of people's energy all day long. That's
yeah.
another way for me to just kind of clear away any debris or anything that I may have picked up from any of my clients. And I believe that that's what I'm doing. Any of those energies are just taken away, recycled, and turned into light.
Yeah.
Um, And so, with this ability to focus better, concentrate, I can concentrate better, gaining strength back. Then I started noticing that, at the end of the day, you've got maybe some thoughts or questions about like different things that you're trying to work out. I started noticing that after my tree climbs, I would have all these things coming to me. Like it wasn't like the tree was directly talking to me at first. um it was more of just an awareness that would come in into my
Mhm.
my conscious awareness. um and it was like all of the answers that I needed were there, and I thought, what's going on here? Is that just me, or what? How's this happening? I guess the tree climb cleared my mind and I was able to think more clearly. I was up high, I have a different perspective. Whatever, I don't know exactly what was going on, but
I have
to
an
me,
idea.
yeah, right.
So, have you read The Ringing Cedars?
No.
Okay, so The Ringing Cedars is about the cedar tree, but it's also about this girl named Anastasia. And the cedar tree at 500 years old, it will explode. So there's all this knowledge and all this light and all this energy inside these trees. And there's a certain period of time where it can't handle it anymore. So they just kind of pop. But they're a conduit. So trees are a conduit. They're helping you between the earth and the ether. So I see them as like a great grounding tool, a great consciousness tool, like expanding your consciousness, because they're also all connected. So you're not just getting the benefit of the one tree, you're getting the benefit of all the trees.
Oh, yes.
So what you're doing is very meditative and very helpful for you, and the trees really enjoy it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they're having fun with you.
Oh, yeah. As you're talking,
Yeah.
I am buzzing and I have chills all over because so what, as I got more into my work, when I first started, that's when I first actually started getting into energy.
Mhm.
I'd done other methods of healing and things like that. Um, and I feel energy very strongly, we know.
Yeah.
So I started playing around with different things, and so it started to grow, like this relationship with the trees, this relationship. And so then I started to just be more still. So some of these trees that I climbed, that it's there will be like you'll find these little nooks and crannies up in the tops of the trees where you can
Mhm.
just sit down and you're
Nice.
supported. I feel fully supported when I'm up in the trees. I always ask permission from the tree before I climb it. And like rarely do I get no. But if I get no, I'm not gonna to do that. I respect the trees,
Right.
And it could be because the tree may not feel like it's safe for me, or it could be something else, I don't know.
Maybe the tree's not that healthy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now there have been other times, well, where I've had so many because I've climbed. I wish I could go back. I wish I would have counted how many times I've climbed hundreds and hundreds all year long, even in the cold weather. I don't climb when it's raining or anything like that. But so it started to develop into something more once I was like getting more familiar with it. And when I would just stop, when I'll just stop up in the top and hang out for a bit and just kind of be still, checking out the view, taking pictures and things like that.
Mhm.
And then I did start hearing some little subtle things, not like a real talking, but something like, first of all, I can feel if it's like a masculine energy or more of like a goddess energy, or sometimes it's a real playful, fun energy of the tree. And that's fun. That's fun
Yeah.
too. And
Well,
then,
they have a spirit too, just like we do.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
Right. And then I've felt like sadness of the trees. I've felt like certain trees calling to me, like, please climb me, please climb me. I need some love. That I
Yep.
trees the trees like people. They like us well if we treat them well and respect them.
Mhm.
Don't
They
just
even like it if you carve your initials on them, which I thought was really amazing. I was like, really? They like that? And they're like, yeah, then they like the attention and they get to have that with them,
oh, cool.
So I'm like, okay, well,
Well, so
that
I've read,
sounds crazy, but the trees enjoy it. So I'm like, oh,
wow. Well, that's neat. Yeah, so I started thinking like, I wonder if I can, and I'm still working with this. I've been kind of slow on my tree climbing because it's getting cold.
mhm.
Um, But it was like certain trees would it's like just put your arms around me and you can feel the energy. And there's something cool. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. And actually an associate of mine sent me this exercise that you can do with trees. So you
Mm.
can use dowsing rods, if you know what dowsing rods
Oh,
are,
yeah.
or
Yep.
you can talk to your higher self, or you can you like you do, and or muscle testing even. But you
Mhm.
go to the tree and you ask if that is the door of the tree. Like apparently they
Oh.
have a door. Okay. So you take your douse, if you're using dowsing rods, you would go around the tree. This is the door of the tree. If it's a no, they would cross.
Mhm.
And then usually I just kind of know anyway, I just kind of know.
Mhm.
But the first time I did it, I did go out and use dowsing rods. And then what you do is you go up to the tree and you put your heart chakra right up against the tree and your arms around it. And you can put your
Mm.
and you just be calm and still and allow the tree to adjust to your energy. And then as you are just, connecting, then you can start to feel it. You can start to feel the energy of the tree. And then you can do whatever you want to with that. You can ask it for some assistance.
Mhm.
You can ask the tree questions and just be still, or just listen. Maybe the tree wants you to do something. Maybe the tree's asking you to do something for it or for something else. But that's a fun thing to do too with the trees.
That's really fun. I think that's why they said we don't want any tree huggers. Like they made such a big deal about tree huggers is because you get a lot of information from trees and it raises your consciousness.
Yes. Yes, it does.
So they turned it into something icky.
Of course. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I used to be a little bit hesitant too about, and it's more so because of the attention that it brings. Like if I go to a park with a bunch of kids after school, that's not my favorite thing to do. One, it's like my time. It's my spiritual practice. This is my
Yeah,
spiritual practice. It's like my church, my type of church.
right.
But then if you have, like people staring at you or distracting you or like, and then the kids are always interested in, I mean, I'm glad they are because I never see anyone climbing trees. Never. Do you? I mean,
My husband will do it sometimes. But just because he has a lot of energy like you do, like hyper.
yeah.
So he'll just run up a tree once in a
Oh,
while. Yeah.
fun. Cool. Well, there actually are, though, a lot of people that do climb that I have found since, online all over the place. And it's
Mhm.
something again, but like if a kid comes up and they're like, Mommy, Daddy, why is this woman up in this tree? Then everybody starts walking over. How it's been fun. There've been, I've had people say, Can we take your picture? And I mean, I've made friends from up at the tops of the trees from people, coming
That's
by.
funny.
But I also am a little bit hesitant, as I don't want to like get in trouble. And then they start putting signs up saying, how they have signs like no swimming, no this and
Right.
that.
No
Well, the
climbing.
signs
Yeah.
anywhere that said don't climb trees, I've never ever once seen any sign,
Uh-uh.
and I don't want to.
No. Well, I don't think they think it exists.
I don't know. I mean, you've got all these playgrounds with all these things that you climb all over. You've got the rock climbing walls. And yeah, sure, trees, if there can be trees that have been diseased or they have, branches that are dead that don't look like they are, you have to be,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to be careful. But so I tend to go to places that are less crowded, like the cemetery. And actually, the one cemetery that I go to here is kind of a well-known cemetery,
Mhm.
with some famous people buried. It has good vibes there. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So, and hundreds of trees to choose from.
I love
I
it.
drive and I'm just like, ah. But so I could go on and on about that. It's a little bit of a process, but the whole thing from going out to the tree climbing, scouting for trees, like driving. Sometimes I just do that, scout around, driving around, you're parking and looking around for different trees that I can climb. And sometimes I can't climb them that day, but I'll make a note. I'm coming back to this place.
Mhm.
And heck, I've even stopped at rest stops and climbed trees, things like that.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, it's your hobby and your practice, and all of us have something that we love to do, and to be doing that in nature is massive. Like,
Absolutely.
it's connecting you to the earth,
Yes, right.
and the trees are really happy that you're doing it. And it's kind of creating a bridge between heaven and earth, really.
It
Like,
feels
I
like
think
that.
that's how I see the trees.
It feels that way. And it's just the way the sun, like when I go up during sunset, there's always like this beautiful beam of light coming just all through the trees, and it's so beautiful. And I can just feel that ray of sunshine coming down on me. I'm like, I'm closer to God. you know,
Ah,
I do. And then once I see everything from above down, sometimes things just don't seem near as bad as I thought they were when I was on the ground, you know?
no.
So while people think, well, how could that be grounding for you? You're going up high. I'm like, trust me, it just is.
Well,
Um,
I mean, it's coming up from the tree. Like, if you want to ground and it's wintertime, you can go and hug a tree and you're going to be grounding.
Absolutely. Right.
Mhm.
And that's the one message that I really want to get out, that I feel like I'm being told by the trees, is that, that people will sit under trees and, have picnics and things, but explore some more, hug a tree. Don't worry if someone's going to laugh or make fun of you. Who cares? Because the
Yeah.
benefit of it is great. And another thing. So I have a lot, all these remote clients that I work with, and many of them know about my tree climbing. Um, and my clients will send pictures of their kiddos in trees to me all the time. And it makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Of course, they're being supervised and they're not just letting their kids go out and just climb up big trees by themselves. But that right there, see, like bringing that back, bringing that back. I've seen so many happy, smiling kiddos in trees.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting healed too. And the tree is like this massive piece of consciousness. Like, it has so much consciousness in it. And I don't know if you've been to the redwoods or
Not
not.
yet, but that's
Okay. So talk about feeling the consciousness of the trees. Like, it's so massive. Um, and I don't know if you could, I think they'd be really hard to climb because
yeah,
there's not a lot of like limbs down low, but just being next to one, just leaning against one, like, you can feel the difference of that. Like, there's so much power right in there.
there
Mhm.
is. There was a picture, and I don't know if you saw it in those pictures that I sent to you. There's this little old town nearby that has this really, really old tree that's like over 500 years old.
This one?
Um, no, I'm actually standing. You may need to scroll down some. I was standing against the tree, or maybe it's up higher.
You think it's this one?
No, I'm actually, oh, that was at Thanksgiving in my hometown. I know, that's where I grew up. Um,
Awesome.
maybe scroll up or anyway, I'm standing against this big, big tree
Oh,
with,
here.
oh, yeah, there. Yeah, this tree, I can't remember how old this tree is, but it was like over 500 years old. So just
Yeah.
even being around it, like my friends and I will go around these big trees and try to, grab hands and get it all around it so that we can
Uh-huh.
intertwine.
I love
Uh,
that.
and that's fun too. That's fun. There's just lots of things. Um,
Yeah,
that
just enjoying your environment, and for you, like you're going and looking, you're experiencing basically and looking for new experiences with the trees every time you
Yes,
do it.
right. I get so many ideas when I'm up in the trees.
Mhm.
I think, usually I'm by myself, honestly, when I'm climbing, and no one wants to go with me.
This
Um,
is why people want to have a tree house, I think.
yeah, that's what I want. I want a tree house. I want to live in a tree house.
There
But
you
just look,
go.
see how that's slanted like that? They're so resilient. Trees
Mhm.
are so resilient.
Yeah.
Um, and depending on the weather or different things, like they'll go towards the sun. I'm not an expert, like I said. Um, but I do have some books that I've been starting to read, and I just read like sometime like you can find, say you're going on a hike and you want to find like where the water is. You can
Mhm.
tell where the water is by certain trees. The leaves will have like a line on them,
Oh,
and that means, and I don't know the details about it, but that was at Thanksgiving at the top of the tree.
pretty high up there.
It is, and those trees are really great to climb. Those types of trees have
Mhm.
so many options.
Nice.
It's
So
like,
many limbs.
yeah, yeah. You always want to make sure you step really close to the tree, and you always want to be looking ahead to your next place to grab hold.
Mhm.
um, but yeah, so I get to see a different view, it's just absolutely amazing. And if it's a windy day, um, I'll just kind of hold on to the tree, and I'll actually just, you can feel the vibration of the tree as it's
It's
swaying back and
swaying. That's
I'll
fun.
say we're dancing, I'm dancing with the trees. Um,
Mhm.
it's just fun and finding cool little things up there.
Yeah.
Like the squirrel. So I used to go barefoot because, when you can feel that proprioception of being able to feel, that's helpful. Wearing
Yeah.
tennis shoes is okay, but that does make a big difference of what kind of shoes you have on. And barefoot is good because you can feel. And my feet did not look like a lady's feet. I mean, we're talking big calluses and dirt in the toes. I don't care. But as I started climbing the bigger, older trees, the bigger branches and things, I noticed that there would be droppings from like raccoons and things because that's what they do up there. And I'm like, ah, so I like to wear those Vibram 5 finger toed shoes. And they are
Nice.
awesome. You can grip right on. It's easier to hold on. And I've got all kinds of little tricks. I keep a big stick in the back of my car in the back seat, a couple, and I call them my props. So if I can't reach the lowest limb, but I could, I'll use my prop and I'll prop
Yeah.
it up against the tree, and then I'll be able to get up like that. But that's fun. So I could talk a lot about that, but I wanted to mention, I was talking to you a little bit about this before we got on here, that when I was in college, I was actually struggling when I went to college. And I was partying and experimenting with a lot of things. And one night I was drinking with some friends after work, and then late into the night, drinking way too much. And then I decide to get into my little fast sports car and go for a drive. And I'm in the country, and I don't know why I was young and stupid and drinking under the influence, but I was driving on this country road, and there was a 90-degree turn, and I went straight into a ravine. And I got stuck in between, wedged in between the side of this ravine, or whatever you call it, and a big tree. My car got stopped.
Yeah.
And I just had that realization not too long ago. And so I made a little video about it when I was in a tree. I was able to get myself out of the car, walk out in one piece with just scratches. And
Yeah.
now thinking back about that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like the spirit of the trees have always been with me. I also mentioned that, I always wondered, like, did my family climb trees? I don't really know. But at a family reunion this summer, my aunt brought a bunch of pictures, and there was a picture of my mom as a kid in a tree. And then I've had other family members reach out that have seen my tree climbing videos and pictures and things, and said, hey, your Aunt Georgie used to climb trees when she was a little girl, and things like that.
Yeah.
It's in there. And I was always drawn to them. And some little memories are starting to come back about the
I love
trees.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trees are amazing. They're just so amazing. And they're just going to enhance everything.
I
So
mean,
it's really good that you're doing that.
they bring us life. I mean,
Yeah. And you're having fun
yes. And
too. Like we don't have enough fun. We're like stodgy and I don't want to go do this or whatever. Go outside and have fun. Even if you're not climbing anything, go sit with a tree. Go put your feet on a tree, lean against a tree,
yes,
you
I even
know?
have a great guided meditation that you can do with trees
Mhm.
that I give to clients. It's great with kiddos, like it too. It's really
Yeah,
great. Um,
fantastic.
you just sit on the ground with your back up against the tree, take your shoes off, put your bare feet right on the ground, feel the earth with your feet.
Mhm.
You feel the support of the tree, it's got your back. And then
Yeah.
you just close your eyes and you tune into your body. And if you, like, say you had a headache or something, um, you can actually put a color onto that area where it hurts. You're against the tree and your feet are connected. And then what you do is you imagine that color working its way down. So say it is like a headache, you have a color to it. You imagine working its way down. It may go on this side or this side. It may stop for a moment, and then you just imagine it going down to the bottoms of your feet and the roots of the tree coming up from the ground, absorbing this energy and
Mhm.
the color. And then what you do is you pick a new color, and it's usually a brighter, happier color. And then these roots are going to replace that other color with this new. You just imagine it. If you have a good imagination, it works so amazingly well.
Yeah.
So new colors coming up through the bottoms of your feet, and it's traveling up, just covering your entire body, traveling up to that spot, and then just coloring it all with this beautiful color every time. It works for
Yeah.
the little pains.
Well, and you're letting the tree heal you, but you're also participating in your frequency is color. So
Yes.
frequency healing is going to be one of the biggest things in the future. It's
Yeah.
already getting really hot right now, but it's going to get bigger and bigger.
Oh, right. Absolutely. Yeah. Um, I've made a few friends that admire and, and love trees, just like we geek out over it. Just different things about the trees. Like, look at this
Mhm.
cool, you can see a face on this tree, or
Yeah.
like they have personalities. They have personalities.
They totally do. I mean, there's trees that have been like the subject of books or part of movies, like Old Man Willow was like part of The Hobbit. All that stuff. I remember that I had a calendar of that and my dad recreated the painting and it was huge.
Oh,
So it
wow.
was like this massive tree with this little face on it, you know. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yes, yes. There is a Facebook group called I Love Trees. People
Mhm.
from all over the world post pictures of trees in their communities and countries,
Nice.
and people like to try to say, "Oh, that looks like this," or "See that, see that." Sometimes when I go back and I look at my pictures, I will see might see fairy, or it's that's another thing that started happening. It's other things started to come into my
Oh yeah.
awareness experience. Um,
Fairies love trees.
yes, and I love fairies.
Mhm.
I love them too. I mean, I have a whole little fairy garden. Um,
I
oh,
love
and other things like, oh, one time I was at a park. This was last summer, and this guy was on a bike, and I'm like, "Hello there," and um, he said something to me. It's like, "Hey, by the way, I know you climb trees. See if you can find the cross that I put on one of those trees out there." And I'm like, "What?" So I looked around, and he had like gone up in a tree. So he must have been a tree climber.
Mhm.
I found it. There was this like cool little cross that he had like put up in this tree.
Nice.
And you never know. Maybe some other people will start finding my gnomes. And
Yeah, I'm sure the fairies are having fun with them either way.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the squirrels and the, yeah,
So yeah, there's this underground network of communication. I believe that the trees, they communicate with trees from all over.
hmm they do. If a stump happens, like if a tree dies and there's a stump, the other trees will keep that stump alive for years. Like
Oh,
they will still make sure that the stump gets fed. And if there's like a network of trees and part of it is next to the water, that network of trees and part of it isn't, those trees will make sure that the other trees get water.
right. Isn't that
Yeah,
cool? Yes. I mean, there's some really fascinating research and stuff on this, which I would like to know more about.
yeah.
Um, I actually went out to a workshop last year to learn a little bit about, the fungi and the trees,
Oh
um,
yeah,
and identifying them, and that's another cool thing because they work together
they do. They're
to,
like the internet of the natural world, the fungi. Like they're basically everything is built on the fungi. So yeah, the mycelium network is massive.
right. Yes.
Yeah. So that's another thing I want to get into talking about. So if you want to talk about that at some point, like when you get more read up on it, or if you're enjoying, like, yeah, then let's do that. Cause I feel like it's important for us to now start to get more and more in touch with the natural world
Yes.
because we're going to be spending more time out there. Like, we're not going to be continuously doing the stuff that we're doing now. It's going to start to taper off and we're going to spend more time with Mother Earth.
And that
Yeah.
makes Mother Earth happy. Yes. Going back to the roots. No pun intended
Yes.
there.
Yeah. And we don't have to work. We're not going to be working so hard. We're going to be enjoying life more. And it's important to start doing that now because we're telling the universe that yes, that's what we want.
Right.
So,
Oh, so another thing is like, I live in a neighborhood with a lot of big, big trees. And anyway, I have a lot of branches and things falling off. And so that's another thing I enjoy doing. That might seem odd, but I love picking up sticks. I've created this whole, like, it's almost like a little, it's gonna soon, because we've had some wind damage and stuff. Soon I may have my own little tree house for real.
there you go.
But just thinking about it, like people are just so on autopilot going through their day, and they're just not thinking about things. They're on autopilot. But get into it. Like, you can make a workout by going out and you're doing squats and picking up these sticks, and then you're putting them in a pile that you're going to later have a bonfire with. And then you can think
Yeah.
about, all the things and then what do you see in the fire? I'll always see shapes and things. You can make things with the twigs and sticks. You can do all kinds of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
This
feel like
is
so
this
many
has
other things.
been fab. I love it.
Yes, it's so great. Oh,
Yes.
and sometimes I will, because I do this work remotely, the zones.
Mhm.
Sometimes I will go out to a park or somewhere with the trees, and I'll do my zone sessions with the trees.
Nice. Oh, I love that. And I'm sure that makes it like stronger,
Yeah,
easier for you too.
it's
Yeah.
good. I
Yeah.
feel like I have that
Yeah.
extra life force energy.
Hmm.
So, I mean, go out and play. People are a little bit hesitant because they're afraid to get hurt and things like that. But one thing you can do is if you find a limb that's a strong, healthy one that you can reach, you can just hang from it too. It's a good stretch. You can do, bring your legs up and get an ab workout. I have
Yeah.
so many videos, just, demonstrating this kind of stuff. And I'm going to make a YouTube channel dedicated for my tree climbing. So that
Good. Let us know when that's done.
okay.
Yeah. I think it's if you can have fun in nature, I think that's a beautiful thing to be doing right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
Find your peace. So like the further I go out into in the nature and the further disconnected, like from my phone, like so the signal is less and less, the more connected I feel.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
I feel safe. Like some places I'll be even afraid to walk around at night, but if I'm out in nature with the trees, I can just get carried away and get all like far away. No one knows where I am, or I usually call someone and tell them where I am before I have a friend or two that I will call, but
Yeah.
just so they know where I am. But I just know that I'm going to be okay. I just know. I just
You
feel
will.
that energy and I am protected.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many of us are going to be working with trees in the future, so I'm just really glad that you're already doing it. And I want to thank you for coming on because I think this was great.
Thank you.
And yeah, let us know when your channel comes up because I'm really,
Okay.
yeah, that's going to be fun. And when
Yeah.
your treehouse is done.
Yes, I sure will. And
Okay.
yeah, get out there and enjoy the trees, everyone.
Yes.
Tree friends.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.